welcome everybody to this episode of Strong Perspective, where our voices get loud with truth and healing and unapologetic clarity. I'm your host, Keith Armstrong, along with,
Uncle Spoke.
Your boy Damon.
and today we're going deep, as deep as you want to, but we're gonna try to go deep if possible from our perspective, our point of view. Whether or not you consider you're right or wrong, is how you see things. You know, we've talked about trauma in the past, especially from our point of view, being black men in America, being leaders of our household, being showing a positive note to the community. You know, but you gotta think about it. When it comes to trauma, it don't just sit in our past. See, most of us, that's how we see it. Past trauma. This is where I am and all this. But in actuality, in my opinion, because we address it, it follows us into our present. And sometimes it affects our future. Sometimes it haunts us. Sometimes it strengthens us into uh, uh, strong, thoughtful men. What we try to do is here, we want to try to just touch on it and see. I don't know, would I call it being therapeutic or more or less um, understanding it? Because
Pseu-
trauma. Go ahead,
pseu-
Jacob.
Pseudo informative.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to Jaquari earlier, Damon, and I said that trauma is the word that just stuck on is these days is associated with uh, every difficulty in your life. Trauma, trauma, trauma. Sometimes it's just difficult. Now there,
So you
we're not. I'm not minimizing. When people really going through some stuff, right? But when you don't get your way on something, or you're disappointed that you didn't get the promotion that you wanted, that's not trauma. It's disappointment. That's my opinion. I feel that's disappointment. Trauma is being suspended from your job when you did not. It wasn't your fault that something happened, but they needed a scapegoat. So you could put that in the sense of a traumatic experience because you losing money that's going to be paying for your bills. What was you going to say, David?
I was gonna ask, is this like a collective trauma, man, in terms of the community, black people? Or was it personal, personal traumas, personal experiences?
With really and truly, I can't speak for the, but I can give my opinion about the black community, but I can speak about the community through my own personal experiences. You know what I mean? Because I was outside. You know what I'm saying? I experienced a lot in my life. So my purview, my view, and the people inside that view, I can speak for them, but mostly for me in that view. Did that answer your question for you?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I dig it.
I mean, because
I was
go ahead.
I was thinking in terms of how how trauma affects how we are with others. You know what I'm saying? The reactionary thing.
Yeah,
And how does it affect the community? I mean, pretty much saying the same thing, I guess.
because think about it. the real trauma that you two men experience in your life, right, does affect how you treat others now. The good and the bad of it, the guarded and the openness of it. You know what I mean? And I'm
Absolutely.
on the trauma, you know, and Jaquari and myself before you came on, then Jaquari and myself were saying where everybody has experienced some trauma in wide in the different degrees in their life. So I think this is a subject that people can speak on. But before we go any further, this is a Strong Perspective podcast. Um, Please go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. You know, at the bottom in my name, you see next by Big Dog, it says Cash App Love. If you feel inclined to contribute to the channel's growth, please do so. We appreciate everything. You know what I mean? And go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. Drive our numbers up. You know, we're plugging away. We're doing the things we need to do. We're being consistent, and at the same time, we enjoy being here. You know, I I don't know about you guys, but I have sometimes I feel I have sort of a responsibility for us to be heard. Now, is that going to convince other people? You know, or my line of thinking, anything like that? It doesn't matter. But you're hearing, you're listening to my point of view, which I think everyone should have the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. But when you say responsibility to be heard, I mean, I don't necessarily carry it like that. I think I have a responsibility to myself to make sure when I am heard, things are cogent and they are aligned with the person that I tell the world I am.
Yeah,
And that's a method of manifestation because there's a person who I am and there's a person who I strive to be. And it's the same concept as prayers, man. You put those words out into to the world, and hopefully they'll start to take shape, and you will eventually be the man that you are. I mean, the man that you say you are.
you put them out. If you put them out in the world, they will take shape, bro.
Mm,
And that's the thing. You know, it what I've learned over the years is not to throw doubt into what I want to manifest. You know, because we always think about it, man. Well, no, let's stay on this for a second because I was kind of shifting gears a little bit, but I don't want to do that yet. You know, I'm gonna start with you, Dana. Right? I'm gonna say a couple phrases as in regard to trauma. Do you think these phrases are associated with it, or do you think it's just the logical step to become and be? You ever been told, man up, stop crying, toughen up? You know, have that ever, those three phases? Can you give me your opinion about those three phases?
Those three.
Are they associated with trauma to you, or is it just the logical way of thinking?
I don't associate it with trauma. You know what I'm saying? If it's directed at me, I don't associate it as trauma. I think about that as if it's somebody you respect and giving you sound advice, it's easy to hear somebody say that to you. If it's just somebody's opinion and they speaking when not, you know, asked of an opinion, say it. I can care less, man. But no, I don't associate that with trauma at all.
Okay,
Depending on who it's coming from. Man.
okay. So, um,
No, but the man up part now, we're going to discuss that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
But I get,
discuss.
but I
I,
get the sentiment.
I
Right.
gave I gave you all three. Discuss man up. Well, I mean, what is your opinion about that phrase?
And like I said, it depends. I mean, ain't nobody. I don't. It's going to be difficult for me to accept somebody looking at me and telling me to man up. You feel what I'm saying? That's
E-
why I said it's depending on the person who's saying it.
Even if it's somebody that you respect.
Well, what's going to have to happen after those words are spoken? What's going to have to happen is, okay, what makes you think you can speak to me in that manner? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If we gonna have this discussion, but I'm not gonna be traumatized for somebody to say that to me.
No, no,
You know
it's
what I'm
not.
saying? I consider the source, bro.
Hold on. These phrases are not to traumatize you. They go along with the other person where it's trauma. Like they're like walls being building up. There's a buffer. Hey man up, man. Don't be a punk. Come on, man. And then, this sports reality, or you fighting somebody. Man, don't be no punk. Don't let that happen to you. This, that, and other, because that could be associated with the person speaking, because they went through it. You see what I'm saying? And they was taught
Hmm.
that. You feel what I'm saying? That's what I meant by these different phrases. Not that they create trauma, because it's not creating trauma. What it is one of those, like, maybe it's a wall to protect. You know what I'm saying? So with me rephrasing it that way, are you going to change your answer, or
I mean, it's a. Let me listen for a minute, man. To make sure. Let me pin down exactly what it is that I'm thinking.
okay,
You
Jaquar,
know, because
what do you think about these words? Man up, stop crying, toughen up. Are they walls that people create so they don't have to address what's in their past? Because you have coaches. Boy, you better man up, and they the smallest and they the loudest, so you know that they was getting their ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? And so they got control, and they're projecting it on you. So what do you think about those three phases? And that's all. This is not too deep. I saw this, and what do you think?
Yeah, I mean those phrases, man, are to me are usually equated to situations where an older cat might be talking to a younger cat about whatever a fight, a game, or whatever other kind of difficult situation. They say, man, you got to man up, man. You got to what was the other man up? Be a man. And what was the other one?
The other one is toughen up, stop crying,
Yeah. See,
man up.
I wouldn't necessarily say that those are walls. What they are uh, the coping skills that that person used to get themselves through that traumatic experience or whatever.
Hmm.
But at the time, they didn't know how to address those issues. And apparently, if they're saying that, giving that advice, to another young man going through a situation, they still haven't worked it out with specific tools.
Okay.
You know, uh, it's like the human body. It's like the human body, man. I mean, if you cut, you get stitches and cover it up and leave it alone. If you got a broken bone, you get a cast. After 6 weeks, the bone starts to mend or whatever. You know, those are specific tools that are designed to address physical trauma. There are also specific tools that are designed to address mental trauma. These tools aren't cure-alls. Therapy is not a cure-all for trauma. It's not. That you're not going to go and lay on somebody's couch and have this person tell you the exact steps on how to get past this situation. That's not what therapy is for. Therapy is for you to therapy is to help you realize the specific points within those traumatic situations that you felt like you were helpless in.
Okay.
You can't tell somebody to man up. Okay, yeah, man up, man, stop crying. When you don't provide them with the tools to do so. Okay, if you whoop a child's ass and you tell that child to stop crying, what is the child thinking? Well, you just gave me pain.
Yeah.
You just gave me pain, and you're demanding that I stop crying. But on the other side of that coin is if you give me pain and I don't cry, it's going to get worse.
Hmm.
So am I fucked in a situation, or do I just live through it the best that I can, and when I'm in a position of power, pass on those opportunities for another young person to be traumatized by this shit, or do I say, well, hey man, you're gonna have to man up, and this is how you do it. You know, you can stop crying, man. Because whatever you're crying about, this is this is this is how you address those issues. You know, if we completed the story where we said those things as insensitive as they are, I think situationally, man, it could do a lot more better to help a person through those times. But don't make a demand without giving me an avenue to reach that demand.
I get it. I think um, I use those simple phrases because they're universal, right? Um, Women use those phrases a lot. Man up, stop crying, right? When they're dealing with their son and they want their sons to be tough. You feel what I'm saying? Fathers do too,
I'm saying a
but
lot of fathers do that too, man. I
but,
think
but
more so.
no, you see that's my point though. It's not that the women are doing it wrong or anything like that, but you would hear it from a woman because she don't know what to do to help you as a young man. If she see you crying, right? A man is like, well, look, especially if he's cried in those situations before, you know, when my sons was crying about something, right? My past made me stronger as a human being. I understand that about it. I look not to be weak anymore because whatever trauma that I experienced. Real trauma now. I'm not talking about disappointments, but real trauma. I strove to become stronger mentally, physically, emotionally, right? So when my son's is in a situation where I don't think he should be crying for a long extended time, like, hey, it's okay to cry, but are you hurt enough to continue crying? If so, let's get up off this floor or off this field and let's go get this addressed. But if you're crying because your feelings are hurt, it's time for you to resolve it now. I've had that conversation with both my sons. You know what I mean? Because I don't want him to think that he's weak. I don't want him to think he's weak because he's crying. No, sir. Because it's about, even though I didn't cry until I was a damn adult after I got my ass whooped when we was kids. Well into my adulthood, I actually cried about something, right? But understanding that you are to guide your sons and your daughters to be men and women, to be to grow up better than you if you have your head somewhat on your shoulders. Because I raised my sons to be better, not at a particular sport, but understanding my teachings so they can move on and grow better and be better. That's always been my goal. Our parents did that for us. You know what I mean? Even though, even though the many conversations I had with our father, he was blunt, he was matter of fact, So I started to listen to what he had to say. Now, in the beginning, it hurt your feelings, right? But then he followed up with, hey, this is how I see how you can help yourself. You feel what I'm saying?
But I mean, and when it comes to crying, man, I mean, I've never really seen like specific categorization of it, man, because whether it's tears of anger or tears of joy, I've seen situations where a person was just told to stop crying.
Yeah. And you
Okay,
know what that is?
it,
To me, my opinion, you know what that is, Jaquari? Sorry to cut you off. Is that person who's saying it feel helpless because they don't have the answer. You know what I'm saying? And they become, now I'm talking about it in the vein that I'm thinking you saying it. Man, stop crying. You know what I'm saying? Because they have the person that's crying, they have the same fear that that person has, but they're not letting it affect the situation in their eyes. You understand what I mean?
hmm
But see, everybody don't think the same. You know what I mean? If you cry, look, I'll be honest. If you're crying, since we're on the subject, if you're crying and you stop, that is the wrong thing to do when you're in a situation. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to be a little blunt, even when you don't want to be. Now you crying and you moving forward, cry your heart out to the best. Just don't wail. Because we don't want, look, if it's one of them kind of things you're trying to give away, we don't want to give away our position. But if you crying on the way up out of here and them tears are flowing, get it out. You know what I'm saying?
mm Yeah, but I mean, I just don't. I mean, me personally, man, I can't. I'm not responsible enough or knowledgeable enough to manage that in another person.
Me neither.
Okay, tears always come with a reason. Rarely have I've seen a person in a good or a bad situation that was crying or whatever just because they thought that was the right thing to do at the time. Emotions, heavy anger brings heavy emotions just like joy do.
Uh-huh.
You know, and as far as parents navigating that thing, man, it's you might as well say, a parent is a surgeon. A good parent, a good mother, a good father is a surgeon. Because that's how intricate, you have to be sometimes, man. You have to have a deft touch when it comes to, shaping our young folks to tailor them to specific situations, because that's what it is, man. You have to hone your senses to specific situations.
Yeah.
If I'm having pain, and it's bad enough to make me cry, then whoever's helping me out, whoever's working on me, they see those tears, and that's a way for them to gauge exactly how much pain I'm having. I see you crying or whatever. Is it hurting that bad? What's the numbers from 1 to 10? If it's an 8, I understand the tears. You know,
Well,
but I was done. That's it.
oh man, listen, not to be funny, but I don't even take it that serious, bro. Real talk. I cry at the drop of a damn hat, man. You know what I'm saying? If it's a situation that reminds me of something deep, tears gonna flow. That's just what it is, man. And you know what I found out, man, is that when I try to man up and try to stop myself from it, from doing it, I sound silly as hell, man. From my reasons to stop crying.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And how you gonna tell if you see somebody crying? I mean, really get into it, crying, having some deep feelings. And you go up to them and say, "Hey, man, a lot of people watching, man. You know what I'm saying? And buck up, man, buck up, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this and that. I don't. I stopped listening to you when you try to distract me from my feelings, man. How the hell you expect me to respond to that shit? You feel what I'm saying? I mean, this is just how I think. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in that emotional state where I'm crying, even if it's by something I just recently saw or past experience, you know what I'm saying? And I'm in the throes of it, the only thing that makes sense to me is to deal with that emotion the best way I can, however long it takes. And then
Yeah.
somebody interrupting that, that's just gonna, why would I take my mind off of that and controlling myself to give somebody else comfort who wants me to stop crying?
But okay.
Am I
Okay.
making sense?
Yeah. So let me ask y'all this.
Before you speak, I'm a guy. Maybe I'm biased because, like I said, I cry at the drop of a hat, bro. You
And
understand what I'm saying?
yeah, I do, and I agree with you. I don't want to get us to get sidetracked because I want to stay with this trauma thing because the crying thing came up because of past trauma, right? And I'm talking about in some cases, crying, anger, shutting down, freezing. You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things. Like us, the three of us, we're talking about just our emotions because, and I'm speaking for the both of you guys. We're in touch with who we are as men, as people, right? So I don't see neither one of us have a problem with crying, right? But those phases where, man up, stop crying, what are you crying for? That type of deal, right? It comes from people who was taught to be a certain way by someone or circumstances. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't let them see you weak. Because
Okay, can I? Can,
now hold on, let me finish. At
Go
one
ahead,
time,
bro.
they felt weak in the circumstances. So they're not going to allow themselves to feel that way anymore. And the people that they know, whether they barely know them, right, or they know them well, hey man, get the fuck up. Don't let these people see you this way. Don't let them see you because of what. And I'm not talking about all the time because you'll have pride. You might, Jaquar, you mentioned it before. You might be just think of this person enough that you don't want nobody else to see them down. So you say, hey man, come on. You know what I'm saying? Stand up. Because it could be heartfelt to do so. You know what I mean? So the example, no, go ahead and say what you're going to say, Damon, and then I'm going to
No,
read.
were you finished, bro? Because
Yeah,
I'm trying. I'm piggybacking off you. To be honest with you.
okay. Go ahead and finish what you're going to say, and
Well, I was
then
gonna say at the risk of contradicting myself, I hope not. But I was speaking as a 59-year-old man who's experienced life. You know what I'm saying, and understand how to deal with my emotions. You know what I'm saying, exercises that I use or whatever. But when I was listening to you talk just now, there is I remember a time when it was necessary for me to buck up because how it was explained to me. You know, our father said to me, "Hey, man, listen. This is a situation that is really bad. You know what I'm saying? And me and you as men, we need to support these women. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going through some things and we need to show strength in it." Now that made a lot of sense to me. You know what I'm saying?
gotcha.
That made a lot of sense. That was something to maybe I could step off for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And go do my thing over here in silence. You know what I'm saying? But present myself in this way as needed. So I understood exactly what he was talking about when he said. I don't think he was suppressing my feelings though. So I understand that when it's necessary to do that.
Okay. Well,
But
let me just.
when you, I mean, when you put it in that regard, man, I mean, when do you when do you find out the proper opportunity to experience your grief, man. Because I mean, it definitely grieving is a process, and if we're suppressing that part, probably the most important part of the grieving process, to support others, then when do we actively take the time to fall to pieces? Because
It makes sense.
I take death for instance, man. We've lost people, man, and I've been devastated, and not to the point where I want to put on this display so everybody can acknowledge my devastation. No, this is I'm at a loss right now. This loss is destroyed.
Mhm.
And that's not something that you can automatically control. I don't think.
You know what? I think, and just chiming in on both you guys, I think just to speak on grief, Jaquari. Grief is trauma's cousin. You know what I mean? That live in the nice neighborhood. Uh, I think grief is something that you have to experience by yourself if you're able to. Because publicly, people, and maybe if it's what you're shooting for, but you got to be very mature. People will console you and try to make you feel better, right? But the only person that's ever going to help you to feel better is you, either through the contribution of what these people are saying to you out of love and compassion, right? And it reminds you of the kind of person you are, and that person that you're grieving for is for you, right? But really, and whether I'm right or wrong, I feel it's a personal, private thing. You know what I mean? Unless you need, you do need to talk to people, right? But the actual energy of it, I think, is private. You know what I'm saying? And it's not contradicting what you're saying, Jaquar. I was just adding to it. You know what I'm saying? Because you brought up grief. Because that's definitely grief is associated with trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Marcus says the man he recommends a book for us. The Man, the Moment, the Man is a book I was given by a long time ago, and it discusses with men how to break free of societal shackles and master the 10 characteristic of comprehensive comprehensive man that will equip them to overcome life's many challenges. So the man, the moment demands is a book that Marcus that recommends that I feel that he got a lot from. And
Man, the
Marcus
moment.
also says who said men aren't allowed to cry. Many men said men ain't allowed to cry. You know what I'm saying? I'm not disagreeing with you, but hell, we done been around alpha males, and alpha males like, man, what you crying for? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because they don't want to cry half the damn time.
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you, Jacoy, when I was listening to you, man, I think, man, in response to what you were saying, also the same person who told me to be strong for those women, that's where I was consoled because I was able to go back. You know what I'm saying, and our Father addressed what I was going through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a balance, is what I'm saying.
So let me read this to you guys. Then Jaquar will start with you to tell me what you feel about it. Like examples of trauma-based experience, I should say. You know, growing up without a father, witnessing violence, being profiled, being rejected, or just unseen. It echoes into our adulthood.
Being unseen is deep, boy. I think that's the killer right there.
I mean, because what it does, I think it affects how we love. Those things I just mentioned prior, and give me your opinion, guys, and and
We
and whoever's in the chat, make sure that you chime in with this also. Um, it echoes into our adulthood, right? Those things I just mentioned, right? Into who we love and how we trust, how we see the world, and how we see ourselves. That last one is key. So, what's your opinion about it, Jaquari?
As Damon was saying, man, I think as bad as the other situations are, the most impactful to me, man, is my sense of not being seen, not being heard,
Okay.
not being acknowledged or whatever, and you put up, you feel like you're putting up effort, you're doing good work, you're making people proud of you, in situations, and you know, nobody's ever talking about you. Nobody's ever checking up on you because you maintaining this status quo, and the people around you don't see your issues because your mask is 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 put on you know perfectly for that moment, but you still got shit going on. When I was a kid, in school, man, I would always just I was a good kid in school or whatever. I never got suspended, never got into any trouble or whatever, man. But all of the people, man, around me who was fucking up, everybody was always coming to check in. I'm just making sure, man, you're getting through the day and all this and all that. But I'm like, well, fuck, what about me? I have issues or whatever, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of not acting out on those issues. But ain't nobody coming to check on me. Ain't nobody coming to see about me. And for a long time, man, that shit made me bitter. Made me
mm,
bitter. Like what the fuck, ain't nobody, just stopping past, to talk to me. Ain't nobody coming to pull me out the class just to check up on my day. I need that shit too, But that's something personal or whatever because it's, realistically, if somebody does notice you, maintaining that baseline and they see that you have a good amount of emotional control over yourself or whatever and you don't act out, then that's pretty much what everybody wants out of a person, you know and if you can achieve that state as a young person, man, the younger you are, I think the better off you be in situations. But nobody will tell you that. Nobody will tell you that. Especially kids, especially, man. Like I said, yeah, they like to be checked up on. But then everybody who acting out, every time they fuck up, they have audiences for people. But personally, in my mind, I'm like, okay, attention will come to a person when they do fuck up. I didn't want that attention. I didn't want that smoke. So that was more important to me. But yeah, man, just being recognized. That was rough for me.
Gotcha. I got
mm.
you. I Damon, I'm gonna read it again. Just this is the quote unquote universal trauma origins for people, especially in the black community. Saying it's universal where it really and truly, I'm putting quotes up here for a reason because it's not always the case. But this is what our society, when it comes to black men and women, society has deemed, that's officially deemed our trauma, right? growing up without a father, witnessing violence, being profiled, being rejected, or just unseen, and it echoes into our adulthood. This is what we're being told every day, which I think is some truth to it, but this is a universal thing that's being told to us, right? And then what it really affects is how we love people and who we love, how we see the world, and how we see ourselves. What's your opinion about that, Damon? And chat,
Well,
let us know, chat.
if those statements you made are constitutional, then where's the amendments at, man? Because I just got to listen to what Corey said, and I'm furious as a motherfucker, man. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? I'm going
And
through a whole lot of emotions right now.
okay, well, just give me
You
your opinion about that, and then you can add on to the other thing.
about what I just said.
Know about what I just read to you, because I want to
Yeah,
know.
man. The loneliest aspect is what jumped out at me. You feel what I'm saying? I can't imagine not lonely, but invisible. I can't imagine experiencing that whatsoever. That means at birth, you know what I'm saying, you was neglected. You know what I'm saying? We don't see you, you don't exist, you're not worthy. You know what I'm saying? That's you gotta deal with that to even be able to deal with emotional experiences that you have. You know what I'm saying? People, you know what I'm saying? How do you deal with people if they refuse to see you? How do you become societal if you're not being seen? Is my point. Being invisible is the worst as it can get, as far in my opinion.
Okay, so does it affect your
Being
relation?
rejected, being rejected. You know what I'm saying? I didn't that didn't bother me. Uh, 'Cause I could care less in that aspect because there's millions of people in the world. You know what I'm saying? You can always move on and not deal with who's trying to give you trauma. You know what I'm saying? But I'm speaking from a 59-year-old person. And I mean, do you want me to go through all of them?
No, I just want you to, touch on a couple things like you did, but in your opinion, does it affect the people you choose to be in your life, how you see yourself, how you see the world?
Yeah, because it in its rawest form, that's how you gain wisdom, right? Those are situations those tests that's put in front of you where you can become a stronger human being, a wiser human being, all those different things, especially if you got somebody to guide you in that direction. So yeah, you experience those things, but what I'm saying, how do you deal with it? How do you climb out of it? You know what I'm saying? What do you learn from it? Is it something that you're going to pass on, perpetuate? You know what I'm saying? Especially throughout our people or whatever. So, I don't know if I answered your question, man. You know,
I
but
mean, I'm gonna be a little smart about it. Do you feel like you answered the question? Because if you
I feel
feel
like
like
I said a lot. I feel like I said a lot,
that's
but
the
I
whole
was,
thing.
when I first responded, I was being honest about the emotions that I was feeling. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? After listening to Jacory, you know what I'm saying, there was a whole bunch of feelings I was going through, and I'm like, the thing that surfaced the most was anger or guilt. I don't know which one
look,
it was,
look,
but it was something that was, what it was.
I felt the same way, but I interrupted you because I was not gonna let you piggyback off of what he said. I wanted to hear from you. You feel what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying, and not that you were trying to do that because that's your brother. So you have feelings about that. But
Yeah, that was me being honest, man.
I
That
know
was me
that.
being honest in the moment.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
being true to that. Is
But
my
see,
point.
I've always said that I know you and Jacory got a lot to say. So I want to make sure that you guys get the opportunity to say it. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask you this. This is on a positive note of trauma. And trauma is, I don't think I can put it, no, good things can come from it if you survive it. Is that fair to say, guys?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I don't want to like put it up. Well, trauma is good. No, it's not. But good things can come out of it. You know what I'm saying?
It
Good
was
things.
that movie Eddie Murphy said, "Evil is good." I mean, that just popped in my head when you said that, bro.
Um, this next thing, like trauma might shape the road, but it doesn't decide the destination. I thought that was a profound thing,
Hey, you
right?
got to run that back, bro. Say it again.
It says trauma might shape the road that you're on, but it does not decide the destination that you get to.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? We have the power to heal, and we got the power to unlearn the things that we learned trying to cope with the bullshit that we had to go through. You know what I mean? Some people say, well, you need to redefine manhood because they look at manhood as a as a uh, beginning of trauma because manhood is this. No, manhood is what it is. It's growth. You learning and doing all these different things. You know, but the thing about it is, it's what the pain that you're going through shapes the person that you become. Marcus says trauma can fuel you, which is the truth. You know, you think about life. He also says life comes with ups and downs. I stopped giving a fuck what people thought about me when I left grammar school. You're a hell of a man right there, bro. I,
Hey, hey, did he have insight or what, bro? He was on it.
I didn't let the kids BS from grammar school follow me and diminish me moving forward. Great point.
you, you a
No, no.
prodigy, Marcus. For real, for real.
Trauma walks hand in hand with survival, man. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the yin and the yang, man, the light and the dark.
yeah,
You know, you can't have one doesn't exist, well, without the other. Trauma is the reasons why is the reason why man made it this far as the dominant animal on this planet. If dinosaurs still existed to this day, I believe human beings would still thrive because we would learn from
no doubt.
be it eaten and smashed and shits. Those are we would learn from seeing.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it'd be
we'll learn
about 30
from seeing that
million
shit.
less of us.
Well, I mean, yeah,
I'm just saying, bro.
it probably would be, but
Us living alongside the dinosaurs,
Well, it depends. Now, if we evolve the way we do and still get guns and shit,
man, they'd be the what they call it, the on top people, apex predators.
in the beginning,
We-
more than likely. But I forget what age it was, man. But at one point, Homo sapiens, man, they were only just I don't know what the exact numbers are, but just to like ballpark it, man, there were only like 1,000 people on the face of the planet. A thousand Homo sapiens. Those numbers grew. How did they grow? Through yeah. But through one of them
what
seeing
you say?
something
nothing, man. Always being childish. Go ahead,
through
Jaquan.
No, what
through
I didn't hear the last part. They was going. They was through what now?
Jaquan, you.
oh just through the experience of seeing bad shit happen to other people, man, and the shit the bad shit that happened to them that they survived, man, they learn from it, and they learn how to thrive in their specific areas. That was it.
Let me just say this, and then you could say what you were getting ready to say, Damon, just to close this off, man. Then we're gonna move on to something else. If anybody's out here listening in the future, if you're listening to us, and you're listening doing on YouTube, if you're listening on Facebook, if you're listening on Instagram, let me just say this to you: if you've been carrying a heavy burden of past traumas and you're here, just understand you're not broken. You might be scarred. You might be, it might be some heavy stuff that you're going through, but you're not broken. Don't allow, try to dig yourself from out of that valley if you can. If you have somebody that's there to help you along the way, accept their help because it's not over. Your past can't define who you are. You're not broken. You might be bruised, maybe, and but you're definitely battle tested. If you're here, if you're here to hear us, there's
Yeah,
still a chance for you to heal.
when you break a bone, man, once it's set and it heals back stronger in the place that you broke it. So more than likely, you won't ever break it in that spot again.
It be the strongest bone in the body, don't it?
Yeah, yeah. If you can, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that you trust as far as the pain, be it a therapist, be it just a close confidant, the pain that you're going through. You don't have to be specific about the pain, but to spit, I always say spit out the poison so it don't fester inside you emotionally and spiritually. You know, try to find your peace. That is not, it's a simple phrase, but it's the hardest thing in the world to do. If you're in search of your peace, that's where healing is coming from. Damon, Jaquar, you have any last things about this subject?
I'm good.
Okay, what's the next subject, brother?
Well, the next subject is being a 60s and 70s child in this day and age. How do you feel about that? You're here. You've got to experience, whether or not you were babies or not, you got to experience civil rights. You got to experience the Vietnam situation. You got to experience uh, the 70s. From 70 to 79 was a hell of a ride. Disco, whatever, rap, whatever, right? Then the 80s, in which things started to turn around. We had Reagan in office, you know, and education started to suffer because of it. Then the 90s, when you're in your 20s and you living life and you smelling your balls, you know what I mean? And you smelling yourself and you just enjoying life. Then the 2000s come in, usher in, the 2000 ushers in, right? And up until now, you had a taste of everything. How do you feel right now at this moment? Chat, chime in for us too. Let us know how y'all guys feel.
Uh, Personally, man, I'm just coming into a sense to where I'm starting to really, really pay attention to things, man. Just because after all of those things you just mentioned, me living through those things, I didn't really pursue the experience of those things. In the '70s, I was a child, so I was taken in this direction, that direction. In the '80s, the apron strings was untied a little bit, so I had a little bit more freedom. When it came to the '90s and I hit my 20s or whatever, shit, I didn't have no notion of what to do. I had absolutely no plan, no. I didn't, I thought about tomorrow, and I always seen myself at a point, with experiences and stuff like that. But I didn't really have a roadmap on how I was going to achieve those experiences or whatever. So I just kept living. You know, when I hit 50 is when I think I woke up and started to really notice and more importantly want to apply my influence on specific situations that I seen happening around me. So I mean, it's seen some amazing shit, man. Some amazing things, man. But it's also been inundated with things that I have no use for. You take this platform for instance, man. So much information on this doggone platform, man, and you learning something every doggone day. Every day you're learning something, you know. But now I'm savvy enough to do research about the stuff that I hear. Just because I hear it and it sounds good to me doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I wouldn't call myself a truth seeker because for our shows, I don't do no research for our I don't do no research for our shows. I'm This is strictly my opinion, and my opinion might be wrong. So I don't do your research, man. If you hear me say something, do your research. But as I said earlier, man, I really take a lot of care into what I say.
So you mean to tell me that genius come out the blue, Jaquar?
Yeah, that shit is natural.
Impromptu ad libbing, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Damon, what do you think, brother?
Man, that's a lot of damn time, man, to experience life, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I can go back through the years and tell you, the situations that prompted me to take a look at my life
You can
and to
touch
speak
on
about them.
You can touch
You
on it.
know, um, it's so much, man. But I would say this: if you're thinking about today, living in today, I understand there's going to be traumatic things happening all the time, every day. And some, considering how many people is on this planet, man. But you think about things, man, that you've been through, and then you experience it one, two, three, four more times, and each time gets easier. You just coast through the shit. Matter of fact, it stopped being traumatic. It just becomes something that you had to deal with. You know, and that's my life, man. I think about my grandbaby, for example. I'm thinking about her life now, and what example can I give to show her how to navigate the bullshit, man, and keep your integrity? You know what I'm saying? That's what's important to me, because no matter what education you get or what you decide to do with your life, you still gonna be a black man or a black woman walking through this world. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to put up with a whole lot of bullshit. But some bullshit is more important than others, man. You know what I'm saying? So how do you survive that? How do you navigate that, man, dealing with all the things that come to you? You know what I'm saying? Do you address it and be pissed off? Do you explore your emotions in this situation when really it's not that damn important? You done been through it 1,000 times. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, for me, I can be more effective how I live my life and people paying attention than me saying anything. Because the first thing they're gonna do is what I'm saying, oh, is he really or she really about that? Let me pay attention. It's either getting dirt on somebody or saying, oh, you know what, they generally are good people. You know what I'm saying? They are somebody to pay attention to. So for me, man, everybody got their own experiences. They got their own traumas and trials and tribulations. Everybody got those different things, but what make us come together as a society, because we are social people, man. That's just by nature. We're social people. We're gonna deal with each other because that's in our nature. You know what I'm saying? But how do you deal with it? I mean, how do you internalize information based on what really matters to you? How you gonna pay attention to gossip bullshit? How does that affect your life? Are you moving forward, or are you stagnant, wondering about what people are thinking about your ass? You know what I'm saying? That's a dead end right there. You know what I'm saying? You're not living your purpose. You just being social without any goddamn real focus. You know, are you impactful? And if you are, recognize in what ways and magnify that shit. You never know what it might turn out into, who it affects. Can it be something that grows and prospers and everybody, whatever? And I'm rambling right now, but in my head, I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Crystal clear. Is it crystal clear? I mean, you was making sense, man. Just go ahead and tie it in the bow, and then we're gonna move on. Ta-da!
Hey,
All
look
right.
at I rambled a long time. I'm done.
Okay. So my next question: when it comes to your children, what would you like? The one thing you would want them to make clear to their grandchildren about you that you would want them to tell them, their grandchildren, not the children, but their grandchildren. What would you want them to know? Want your children to tell them about who you were? I'm gonna let that marinate for a second because really and truly, everyone has a different answer. Everyone is looking at their children and their progeny in a different way than the other folks, right? But I think that's a good question. I think that's a great fucking question, to be honest with you, because what you're doing is you are, as a matter of fact, our parents, right? Us explaining, and this is on Damon and Jaquar. You the only ones who like experience it. I haven't experienced it. I'm not a grandfather yet, but your children talking to your grandchildren about you. What's the one thing you would like for them to say? And chat, chime in, give us your opinion. We just want to know.
Yeah.
All right, traveling nomad, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, bro? You good? Well, I mean, honestly, man, I have three grandchildren, but I don't know them.
I get it.
So the one thing that I would expect, my daughter to do is tell them her truth about
Your daughter's grandchildren.
me.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's at this point, since they don't have a reference, and I wouldn't want to put the pressure on my daughter of having to make shit up. Then hey, just run it down how she experienced it, and that it's not an easy question, man.
No, it's not. It's not an easy question at all.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not a question to box you in either. I
No,
mean,
I don't feel boxed in. I just as there's still opportunity there, you
Mhm.
know, for them to experience me and me to experience them, so they can tell their own story. But you know, like I said, it's not that's not the situation right now.
So, and that just to really reinforce the question, the three of us can talk to our great grandchildren about our grandfathers and grandmothers. You understand what I'm saying to you? Where we had a, even though it was a short time we had with our grandfather, right? But we still had a reference of who he was as a human being. Our grandma, both our grandmothers, who they were as human beings. You feel what I'm saying? If we could pass that along to our not grandchildren but great grandchildren. That's basically what I'm saying. And before you go, Damon, we'll read this. Marcus says, I hope that my kids pass on that I had their back no matter what. I'm definitely going to talk shit, but I was there for them. Nice, honest point. You feel what I'm saying? Nice, honest point, Marcus. Damon, what do you think?
Well, one thing I want them to say about me was, man, I had to wake up every day with this man in my face trying to work me like a slave. Always had advice. You know what I'm saying? Always telling me I need to do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? And that was every day I woke up. You know what I'm saying? The other part of it is, no, this is how we do it. I got this from my dad.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, that's pretty much it. I don't want to see me. If I'm in heaven, look down. I don't want to see me or mimics them. I want to see what they turn out to be.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I want to know what who they are. You know what the things they want to achieve and experience, and you know how they're gonna make their mark in the world. I want to see that. You know, and if I influence in any kind of way, I'd be grateful. But mainly, what the first thing I articulated.
I tell you, and I mean this in all earnest, I want my sons to tell their grandchildren that I showed them how to love and how to be loved. Because as many lessons that I give my sons every day, the most important one is to how to be loved, to have that standard of your care from the people that love you, and how to show love to the people that love you. And that's my. I've always felt that. I felt that as a kid because I learned that lesson. Whether it was me, uh, whether it was me being accountable for every action that I've had, right? And showing that, hey, I make mistakes. I mean, because when you love somebody, you love everything about them. You ain't got to like them. You ain't got to
I'm
like
gonna say
them.
they're gonna point out your mistakes, bro.
But see, that's the whole point. You know why they point out your mistakes, in my opinion? Because that's them trying to seize a little bit of power. All right, you can
That ain't it.
yeah,
That's wrong.
look. First of all, you can point it out. You can disagree with me all you want to, right?
I'm just joking, man.
No, 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 no.
I understand the point you're making though.
Yeah,
Real
because I
talk.
I knew he was joking, but my point is, it's understanding, and it has a lot to do with being true to yourself. Feel me? It's what it is. Marcus says, that Marcus, you being vain when you do this. I choose the name Granddad because my grandfather was a great influence, right? I get that, but I'm not Papa. I'm Granddad. Like, bro,
A lot of brothers feel like that, man.
what I'm saying is it's the same though, ain't it?
A lot of brothers feel like that, man.
Is it the same, Marcus, or is it slightly different? Punch in the comments and let me know, bro, because I'm really giving you a little. I'm jabbing at you a little bit because I feel what you're saying. Because a lot of people don't like Papa. You know what I'm saying?
Nope. A
Look,
lot of
look,
brothers said that to me, man.
look what Marcus said. No, you know. But look, traveling nomad. He's a comedian, man. He said, "My pull-out game is strong. No kids. Mic drop. I got you, dog. I got you.
Yeah.
Is there
Hey,
anything
tell my man, no. Hey, tell him don't be going out, man, on tours making jokes about me, man.
so? Last subject of the day. Is there anything that crossed you guys' mind that you want to address today? You know what I mean? It don't have to be nothing deep. Just something miscellaneous because we could talk the miscellaneous shit too.
Excuse me.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's going through my Facebook feed, man, looking at all the political shit that's going on, man, all the relationship conversations that are happening or whatever, man. I find that there are times when I really really do gotta stop indulging in that shit, man. Just so those subjects, man, don't take hold in in me, and they start to become my opinions or whatever. I mean,
I got
at some points there can be alignment, man, but the overall picture, in a lot of cases, just don't match. You know what I think. So just navigating that, man, just being able to filter, information and keeping the shit that's important to you, discarding, the unimportant, man. It's become like a second job. You know, it's going to come to a point, man, where this platform, man, social media, Google, anything, man, and that's got anything to do with the dissemination of information, man, it's going to be shunned. It's going to be shunned, man, and it could potentially bring on another dark age, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, isn't that what's happening now, bro? You know what I'm saying? You only listen to things that you agree with. You know what I'm saying? That's why they say a lot of people are in a cult right now.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point, Dan. It really is. But I think people listen to what they agree with because they're afraid to be different from somebody else. What do you think about that?
Honestly, for me, man, it depends on what mindset I'm in. If I'm in a pissy ass mood, I'm gonna look for somebody that agree with me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just human nature. You know what I'm saying? But at some point in time, depending on your maturity level, at some point in time, you get to reading things and shit becomes too extreme, and it's like I done never said that. Or damn, that's a stretch.
I got
You
to
know
get.
what I'm saying?
I got to get away
You know what
from
I'm
this motherfucker. You know what I'm
saying? Then you got to detox, bro.
saying? You do. You do.
You know what I'm saying? Put on some Earth, Wind and Fire or some old music you used to listen to, man, and meditate.
Yeah.
You know, ain't nobody doing that. It's shit is chaotic, man. People be lying. I mean, I've never in my life thought, man, and maybe because how we were raised, but it never occurred to me that one day somebody's going to be able to lie to you in your face, man. You know what I'm saying? And then that's going to be what it is.
Which,
Just think
what,
about that for a minute, man.
Damon, they always have, but the thing about it is, we had newspapers, we had radio.
That's what I'm saying. It's always that source that went against that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't all together, and it's like for me, I'm like, man, this is this is really crazy. I mean, people are actually thinking this way. You know what I'm saying? Then you got to resort back to that what we talked about earlier, man. Being a child of the '60s and moving forward, we learn how to navigate a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? We learn how to navigate a lot of that stuff. So I think right now in today's society, that's the thing that's most important, man. Because people they can get so damn crazy. A civil war might, kick up because people, what they call it, got the what they call them packs and bags that you use to get away.
Go,
You know what I'm saying?
go bag.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? People doing that. That's like a major industry right now. Or what to put in your bag, what keeps and all that. It's like, man,
It's
and we was raised like if you got a house, you got a home, you protect that homestead. Bug out no damn well.
it's fear
You
mongering,
know,
man.
it's crazy. Huh?
It's fear mongering. It's keeping. That's how control is kept through fear mongering. Man, you should always
Shit.
be prepared. But the thing
That
about it,
shit working.
Hey man, I think the wildest shit is like all these preppers and people who do have to go bags and all that shit. I bet they never would have thought that they'd be running from their own man.
but see, and
Nope.
that's the whole
I
thing.
agree. I agree.
I'm gonna tell you my little pet peeve that's been bothering me lately, and it's always been like this, but because of the platform that we're on and just the freedom to be heard, because that's what's going on. Everybody can be heard, right? We have people in our community attacking each other on behalf of a tyrant, on behalf of special interest group. They always have someone in place. Yeah, man, y'all fools because this and that, and look at this and look at that, and then you find out they're being paid to do so. You know what I'm saying?
Hell, that's evil.
Look, whenever the categories of fucking porn outnumber the political parties we have available to us, it's a fucked up world, man.
But look what they're trying to do, Jaquar. They're trying to take over porn now. Because what do? They say they slowly, hey, we need age verification. This is what I read. This ain't because of my
Well,
experience.
yeah, I
Oh,
I
I,
was gonna say,
I read
I,
this.
I wouldn't know.
I was gonna say that kept popping up, bro.
What the fuck?
I'm 60. I'm 60 fucking years.
I can do what I want, man. Fuck you guys.
Say, where this shit keep popping
No,
up, man?
no, no,
We already established that.
the only reason I'm bringing it up because it's before Congress right now. Do y'all know that?
Man,
It's
man,
before
these
Congress right now.
What?
Because what it
these
is,
people are weird, man.
what it is attacking the freedom of speech because of age verification. You feel what I'm
Project
saying?
25. They want 50-year-olds to be able to go to war and shit.
But like I said, this is what I've been reading. You know what I'm saying? That was man, y'all wow. That was funny. Hey, Hey, look, as soon as it came out my mouth, I was like, well, damn, Keith, you
Yeah, you see, look, you seen, I was in and then I was out. I, wa- I, wa- I was in and then I was out.
Oh man.
but this is my point. Not becoming overly political. There's always been a back door to take away the country's rights, not just black people, the country's rights. There's always a back door with things. Here in North Carolina, real quick, what they do is they have an agenda, say, clean parks bill, right? And they'll add on another bill that's infringing on a right. So they doubling them up and tripling them up. So if you don't read it, the only thing you're reading is, oh, clean parks bill, right? But in the paperwork and in the wording, there's other things. And I'm exaggerating when I say this, but really and truly, that's what they do. They add things into the agenda that's going to change something that they know if they attacked outwardly, people wouldn't go for.
They call them riders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what if I was to
Me-
say? What if I was to say this to you? Okay, I was involved in a conversation, and the question was asked. Why the black community is basically sitting on their hands, not doing anything. And then after that was discussed, the notion that black people were the most well equipped in this country to survive this situation because we're always uh, amenable to adjust. No matter what happens.
Yeah.
If the government turned outright fascist, black people would just find their niche and maintain that niche.
Because we always had to, man.
I don't like that though, man. I don't like it. I mean,
Law,
because
law, a lot of the majority of the laws was constructed with keeping us where we are.
and I understand that. I mean, but that we're not docile people.
Yeah.
I mean, just because we might not be out on the front lines right now doesn't necessarily mean that we won't be there tomorrow.
And I think, and it's all these different communities that ICE is affecting, right? You know, Before the election, there was a couple people now, and there's a small segment that would come in on social media. I'm voting for Trump because he's this and that and da da da. Forget the illegal immigrants, even though you own papers right now, but you think because you own papers that it won't affect you, right? And I saw a guy who was all before the election, he was all in on Trump, blah blah blah, blip 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 blip, right? And then when he started seeing his friends ICE kicking in their doors and getting them out of there, right? Then next thing you know, he's like, well, where are the black people at? Why ain't y'all supporting us? Because you chose not to support us. You know what I'm saying? And what black folks has done, really and truly, is they're tired. Because in the past, we've always been on the front line with every minority folks. You know it. That's what we've done. But we're tired, collectively tired. You feel me? Because I know it's black people out there trying to help the Hispanic folks. You know what I mean? From being deported and all this. Educators are trying to help these children from being deported all over this country. You feel me? So it's like it's still there, but you don't see the social media presence like you did before because folks is like, man, just tired. I'm tired because you always you let me put it like this. We always been used and been piggybacked off of. Always. Right? But then we come in with the shitty end of the stick every single time. You know? Look,
My thing is this, man. You know, I get the sentiment. I understand. You know, when you being pressured, your neck is on the line, man. You know what I'm saying? You trying to seek help any way you can get. You want solidarity. You know what I'm
Help
saying?
me.
But the thing is this, man. It's just like I was watching. I forgot what show it was, but this white dude was talking shit. You know what I'm saying, and addressing the brother, and then the brother said, "Man, only the N word will answer that question." You know what I'm saying? So you need to move on with that bullshit. I see this situation the same damn way. Come on, bro. Y'all throwing parties, marching, singing, kumbaya all day long about Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Knowing, knowing that y'all thought, not knowing, but y'all thought it was going to affect us more negatively than y'all or anybody else. You know what I'm saying? That when you went in there and you pulled that lever, it was for us to be affected, black people. So to even come with all that drama, it's like, come on, hey, dude, I can't even take you serious. I can't even take you serious. I'm supposed to forget that you voted against my best interest. That was intentional because I can't be mad at the man. He said, "Hey, man, we getting rid of DI. We getting rid of all the things we don't agree with. All that. No, that's what I'm going to do." And that's exactly what he did. He didn't lie. Now you confused. And
I tell
you want to ask for help. I can't trust you. Period. That's why people stay at home, man. They ain't gonna get me jammed up. And if and just last point, just imagine in New York or Atlanta, black people decide, you know what, we're gonna cross the line and go support these people. And when the police come, guess what? At the end of the day, all the black people gonna be arrested, and the Hispanic people gonna still be sitting there talking, okay, we need more volunteers.
you, look,
You know what I'm
look,
saying? We
yeah,
know that's what's gonna happen.
look, I'm gonna tell you. Last thing I'm gonna say,
Crazy.
political wise, this is the last thing to say. The smartest thing that was ever done is associating DEI with black people. The smartest thing ever done. When in fact it had everything to do with white women.
You know,
Everything to do with white women.
And the
Because
people in wheelchairs and stuff like that affects everybody. The army, veterans, it
they
affects
not
everybody.
but I'm saying, and this is conspiracy theory, but they're attacking the DEI to get these women back in the houses because they ain't having these babies like they're supposed to, bro. They not.
and you know, Damon, you mentioned the song "Kumbaya," man. You know it's got an entirely different meaning from the way we mention it today. Because
It does.
yeah, I forget this man's name, but he's a linguist, and he talked about the origin of it. It's actually a song called "Come By Here," and it was it was sang by like the Geechees and the Gullahs. It was a song by the slaves. It's a song of freedom. Come by here and get me when you when you
Oh
leave.
yeah, wow.
Yeah, you know. So it's not about us sitting around the fucking campfire and rocking back and forth. Kumbaya, my lord, everything is fine. No, that's not the case. Just come by here and pick me up on your way. Get me the fuck out of here. That's the meaning of the song.
Hmm.
But he was saying how you know it was taken and bastardized, you know, to fit the majority's narrative. And they've done that with you know with several things that you know several words, several phrases that were important to the black community in our struggle, like the term woke.
Uh,
You know,
what
people no no people
with
people
that,
people
man,
pop
that was
people
wrong.
people popularized it today, but the term woke is about 100 years old.
Hmm.
You know, and black politicians started using it. Wake yourself up, man.
Yeah.
I forget his name, man, but it's this dude is he got long locks. You know, he's a linguist, and he talks about different dialects and different vernacular and the way black people use words or whatever. And people say, well, that's not a word. Yes, it is a word because this person just made it, and you know exactly what the fuck they're talking about. Your need to correct this person is it speaks to your need to be superior to this person, but you know exactly what he or she means in the context of this conversation. So don't ease up with the fuckery, bro. Let's just do the business.
Corey Damon hooked you up, man.
Okay, kumbaya, come by here. It's an African American spiritual of disputed origin, known to have been sung in the Gullah culture of the islands off South Carolina and Georgia. Absolutely. I appreciate you, brother. Thank
Um, cousin Eric,
you. What's
love
going
you
on,
too,
cuz?
cuz.
Love you too, brother.
What's
Uh,
going on? Love you.
Marcus, Damon, appreciate you. Jerome, we appreciate you, brother, tuning in. You know, any last words before we check up out of here? Do the housekeeping, fellas. Any last words? We'll start with you, Damon.
No, man. You know what? I enjoyed the conversation tonight, man. And the last thing I'm gonna leave with y'all, man. Well, it's a question, man. Did y'all watch the man's boxing match? Um,
Charleston White.
Charleston White. Y'all watch his boxing match?
I watched it.
I haven't
Did you?
seen him. I
Yeah.
haven't seen him in about 2 years, man. I don't pay attention, man.
Yeah. You see how he was boxing the young brother, man. Old school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Old school. He kept putting them laces in his face.
That's a jail fight.
Bag up, tag, huh? I was like, man, look at Charleston, man. Come on, bro, man. You rub the laces in his eyes, man. You got compound on it on your laces, so
Look,
the blind.
Charles,
He gave it to him though.
that little young boy could not fight, man.
when he first came
But
on,
hey,
And
when he when,
Charleston can fight. You know what I
when he
mean?
when he first came on the scene, Charleston White, he said under no circumstances, man, I'm gonna survive this motherfucker. So yeah, he gonna scratch your eyes out. He gonna do everything.
man, he was
He gonna do everything. He gonna put salt in your wound. He gonna do all that.
man, he was punching that little young brother lights out, man. Then
Okay.
rub them laces in his eye.
Yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah. Okay.
Damon,
I wasn't mad at him.
since you brought up the sports thing, and it's really not sports related, but it is. Is our sports, high school, college, pro level, is it too commercialized to ever enjoy again, man? Chat, chime in on this. Let us know what y'all think.
I think they're trying to figure out how to make money in all aspects of sports that they possibly can, man. You
So,
know what I'm saying? You got people analyzing how can we make money from this?
so
You
your
know.
answer is yes, then.
Yes.
Okay, so being overly commercialized, in this my opinion, then you go, Jaquari. You can't enjoy it, man. The spirit is taken away. I mean, whatever you like and don't like and dislike, the spirit is taken away, right? I don't, and I'm not being an old fogey with this. No, I am a sports fan
What's being taken away? I mean, how's it taking the spirit away?
because when it's overly commercialized, there's money involved. When
Right.
money when money is involved, when money is involved, right? Now the people that's controlling the situation have to hedge their bets, right? Don't you think? Don't they got to hedge their bets?
Parlaying and all that.
Yeah, just the simple fact that
Yeah, if they want to continue making money from it, yeah.
yeah, the whole because what happened with when it came to the NIL, which I am conflicted because I think young men coming from that, Damon, Jaquari, coming from that era, I love it that these young men is making money from the name, image, and likeness. I love it, right? But the pure sports enthusiast is mad at it because, oh man, he making this, $200,000 a year for 4 years. He ain't gonna be hungry. Well, I'm saying to myself, well, he don't love the game if he's not hungry. And then I also said, well, hell, it's his right not to be hungry because he's earned a living. That's what he went to college for anyway, to earn a living. So I can't really be mad at the NIL. I think it goes a little, it runs a little rapid because of the pack money. But it's like I don't know about because my youngest son Carson, he loves sports, and when he was younger, he and I talked about him all the time. Talked about everything, football, basketball, everything. He knew all the players. He knew everything, right? And I used to go blow for blow with him. Yeah, you right, man. Blah blah blah. Now today we were driving in the car. He said, "Well, Dad, such and such went to OKC." I said, "Who is that?" "What do you mean, who is that?" "He played for Florida. They just won the national championship. You don't know who that is, Dad?" And he was shocked. He was shocked. And I felt bad. I felt bad because he still has the love of it. He has the love of the game. He recognizes the player. I become not ultra jaded, but become a little jaded, but I don't follow these guys and don't know their names.
The only reason I don't like the NIL, man, is because it wasn't around when I was in school.
There you go.
That's
That's
that's,
the, that,
that's the little.
There
That's
you
the
go.
yes,
that's
sir.
the only reason I don't like it. I mean,
That's the real. That's the realness. It's jealousy. It's what it is. But I think it was a good thing. I
yeah.
think
Generally, that's
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, because future implications, man. I see it as we not the people who really don't have the fire.
it's real. I mean, because
you could.
you look at it right. If you go to a Division I powerhouse, right, and basketball, it's only 15 of you guys. So the pack money, everyone, the 15 of you, is enough pack money there, not NIL, but pack money, in which as long as you're in that program, you'll get $30,000, right? That you have to pay taxes on, but it's $30,000 for 4 years, right? And if you don't have any NBA offers or aspirations, you coming out of that with at least 20 to 30 grand of saved money that's going to get you on your way to living a life. I think that's a great thing, man.
Hell yeah, you can finesse that any type of way, man. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I see wrong with it, coming out of high school, you know what I'm saying? The only thing I see wrong with it, it depends on the contract that we are willing to negotiate. If it's like upwards to $4 to $5 million above, you're gonna give me 3 years commitment, bro. You
No,
feel what I'm saying?
but see, that's the whole
You
point.
you you gonna give me 3 years commitment
Yeah.
because you're not gonna play a year, take my money, go somewhere else and try to run the same scam.
No, see,
Especially if you ain't getting on the field. You feel what I'm saying?
Damon,
Or staying on the field.
you're getting it confused. is PAC money, which has to do with the school, right? Then the NIL, you can take the NIL wherever you go because the name, image, and likeness. So
Okay, so
you signing the contract with that company, that particular company,
right.
the
Okay.
local. But I agree with you. Like the kid from Tennessee, the kid from Tennessee had a pretty good year, right? The quarterback, right? And Tennessee was paying him $2 million a year. Now I'm not in his pocket, but if you are a freshman or sophomore in college getting $2 million a year, right? Why would you leave? He left the program to go make $4 million a year. So in my eyes,
That's why he left.
but see, that's
He
my
got
point.
he got two more $1 million.
So this is what the school is paying him. So I'm like, well, damn, you didn't sign a contract with the school? Because if the school just automatically paying you 2 mil, like on a handshake. Because if they were smart, they would have you under contract. Like, yo, you got to be here at least 2 years before we give you anything like this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what these kids are doing. They're jumping from school to school. I'm talking about the elite kids. Everybody else is taking full advantage of it while they're at their school. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have to agree that I'm happy that these kids are getting a chance that I never got, that you never got, that you never got. You feel me? Because I'm like this. Of course, and I sit down one day and talk about my circumstances why I did not play overseas or play professional football, right? But to be able to come out of college, to be able to come out of college, dog, and have a bank account that's on swole. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about swole for a 22-year-old. So swole is having about 5 to 10 G's in your account. That's swole if you're a college student, right?
Yeah.
What's going on, cuz? What's up, Lawrence?
But see, I also, as I said a minute ago, man. I think it's going to help to weed out the ones with the fire. I mean, because personally, uh, I put my eggs in the basket of somebody who's gonna stick there. Like you go to a barbershop, you go to the barbershop or whatever, man, and you a chair hopper, you hopping in everybody's chair. Don't nobody like that. And more than likely they'll say something to you about it. Now in regards to the NIL thing, man, I need somebody that's gonna be here for the long haul. I need somebody that's gonna take the information I give him and apply it to the program.
So you're speaking from the professional ranks. They're looking at that.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so because I mean, the attitude being displayed now, like with the dude from Tennessee, you know, if he is blessed to get to the league or whatever, and what's to say, who's to say what's going to happen when he comes off a free agency?
Yeah.
He's going to be
And
a
that,
bitch. He's going to be a bitch to negotiate with.
that's what I'm saying, man. That lets you know just how much money they jerking off, man. Because first of all, if you come to my school and I give you $2 million, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna know whether or not you're gonna make an impact from day one. You know what I'm saying? Number two, the contract is gonna state that you're gonna commit to me at least 2 to 3 years. You know what I'm
I
saying? You're
I
not finna hold nothing over me.
I don't
You
think they
getting $2 million, huh?
I don't think they do that because of the transfer portal. See,
Man,
I don't think the schools really want to mess with the transfer portal. And understand, folks, we're speaking on this just by what we've seen in other social media platforms. As far as getting into the details, if you feel we we missing details, let us know, and then I'll
So
come back on and correct it. You know,
see that's the very reason why Alabama ain't on that level that they was on for the last 15, 20 years. Because it's about the money. It's not about, man, you know what? I want to be I want, go tide. I want to graduate from that school. I want to be a part of I'm a martyr, all that. No, I'm
well,
just, I love them, but I love money more. So if Green Bay, Wisconsin give me $3 million, I'm leaving Alabama.
you fucking right. But let me ask you this question,
That's
Dan.
crazy, man.
Let me ask you this question. Alabama was getting all the monsters from out of every state, especially Alabama and Georgia,
Right.
getting the monsters out of every state because we
Texas.
didn't have anything else. So Alabama was a NFL school. You know what I'm saying? Alabama was an NFL school, so didn't have no NIL. Because the funny thing about it is how many years did Nick Saban coach after the NIL was implemented and the transport portal was implemented?
I think
Two
he did
years,
1 year. Was it 2 years?
2 years. And he complained all to because he didn't have the power.
He ain't had the power. What do you
Not even
mean?
power. He didn't have the power anymore. He had the power before PAC money and NIL. He had that
Oh,
power
so you
before.
said you? I see what you're saying. He wasn't. He ain't the only one now.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? Like, look, when you coming out of high school and you can change your family dynamic. What the hell is you gonna do? I love Alabama, but guess what? University of Iowa said they're gonna give me 1.2 million. Alabama said, "Hey man, you need to just come to this school because we Alabama. We're gonna get you in the pros, bro. My family's starving right now. You know what I'm saying? I want my siblings, I want my mother and father to live comfortably. So what are you
Well,
gonna do?
I'm gonna tell you, big dog. I understand the point you're making, and that's logical. That's how they thinking, especially if you're coming from the inner city or whatever. But by the same token, man, I'm not leaving Alabama and going to somewhere that's never going to be in the damn conversation to win a national title, bro. You know what I'm saying? You chose Alabama for that reason. This is going to get me closer to the league and a natty. Where would you go? So you mean to tell me your mindset is if I'm at Alabama and they can poach me away, even though it's for more money, they can poach me away from Alabama to go play for East Tennessee?
Okay,
I mean that's an exaggerated point, but what I'm saying is that's crazy to me, man.
let me
And
ask you.
and plus and plus it hurts your not just your bag but your image, man. The NIL shit.
Listen, listen. Good point, Damon. But let me ask you a question. Mississippi, the shotgun houses, right? We all know what a shotgun house is, right? And you was all world. You all world in football. Alabama wants you, right? But you getting your family out of that situation. Now, if Alabama paying you a little something that you can get them closer to being being out of poverty than before, that's cool, right? And that's a lot for an 18-year-old. I get
That's
that.
true.
That's a lot. But if you are thinking, I want to get my mother and father out of this, I want to get my mama out of this, this is why I'm playing, and you can do it sooner, your football career is going to be great. Because you know why? You want to know why your football career is going to be great? Because you ain't got no pressure no more. You ain't got to worry about not being able to call your mama and your dad and your siblings is not eating.
until
Go
until
ahead.
until a better deal comes.
That happens every day though, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be funny. And we look at it differently because it's entertainment.
I want to see, man, in 10 years, everybody, all the young folks who are involved in NIL and transport portal. I want to see graduation rates. Be very, very interested to see those.
They're gonna be higher. You want to know why? Because
Yeah, let me know.
if they jumping from school to school, right? And these guys ain't not in any hurry to leave college because they're getting a bag for their performance, and they gotta stay on the field or on the court. You gotta have good grades. They're gonna graduate or they're gonna be close. You don't think that's realistic?
Well,
I
That's if they take going to school seriously.
I know there's a lot of pro brothers that were winning the pro who was in the lottery early and all that stuff. I believe most of those brothers went back and got their degree.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? I
Let,
believe that.
let me read what KJ said. KJ said Bama and every other power program was dispersing funds and getting studs, while the NIL, when the NIL came about just that quick, organized alumni money and corporate money proved to be much bigger than just the alumni money. It's true facts. True facts. You know what I'm saying? You know, look, Damon says all teams that are on TV now, so going pro is not a problem for any team these days. I mean, Damon, I tell you, you know, I think what was coming about, because when I was in school, I'm 60. When I was in college, college was a way out, and professional leagues was an easier way out. So this is why I can see how the NIL benefits and how PAC money benefits these kids. You know, just like what KJ says, well, you have pressure, and there's still pressure to perform, and you just said it. They got to get the work done, and that's pressure. That's real. Damon says another reason why he watches women's sports, other than long legs and firm bodies, they have to stay in school for 4 years regardless of transfers. That's real. But the NIL is taking care of them now. They get paid more money at their programs than get paid in the WNBA. No.
What about and how is DEI affecting that shit?
Say what now?
So how is DEI affecting that shit? It's a DEI issue, ain't it?
No, because it's
Mm-hmm.
no, man.
Mm-hmm. I
You got
don't know. I
you
don't
gotta
know.
no, you gotta
It,
explain that. I think you're being
it,
facetious right now.
well, yeah, there's a fair amount of facetiousness to it, but I mean, I think it ticks the boxes. The NIL in particular, I think it ticks the DEI box because I mean, I would venture to say that it's mostly minorities who are getting this money.
Look at you. You know, look, your foot is quicksand. It's getting stuck.
That's what we about. We about no, it ain't stuck. I got backing now. Even
All
if
right,
I don't,
well, back it up, man, because
even if I don't agree with it, I got backing now.
I'm lost. Because see, here's the thing. I think the NIL has helped women's college sports.
Hmm.
I think it has. Because I don't think they get any of the PAC money, not as much as they get the NIL money.
Man, NIL and all this stuff, man, is crazy because what it do is it takes away opportunities, man. If you got a quarterback that's a 5-star All American cat coming out of high school, and you got a guy that's like a 3 or 4 star cat coming out of different high school, whatever. The 5 star is gonna go to Alabama or Michigan or whatever, don't make it, and then gonna come back to where the 3 star, 4 star player went in the same position, and because they can generate more money, whatever, is going to take a spot from this person.
But see, that's not
You
NIL.
know,
Damn it, that's not NIL.
wherever the case might be, man.
It's the transfer portal. It's what
That's
it
the
is.
transfer portal, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if you think about it, it's taking away opportunities. Really, if you're a 5 star and you go D1 to one of those major universities, you know what I'm saying, and you don't play for 2 years, and the first thing pop in your head is, well, I'm for the transfer because I believe I need to be on the field. But a cat who was 3 times better than you went through the same process, didn't play for 2 years. But you think you're better than that person. You know, if you that impactful, you gonna start. You gonna start. They're gonna give you an opportunity whether to prove yourself or not. You know what I'm saying? Cutting and running and taking opportunities from other people just for your namesake, I think it's kind of faulty, man.
Yeah, I get that. I understand your logic in it, but staying and taking up a spot and you're not playing is taken away from somebody's position too. You know what I'm saying?
Man, all right.
I mean, look. This is not saying I'm disagreeing with you. I'm saying there's other ways to look at it where there is a competition out there. The people who I think is at fault is the coaches, because the coaches, what they trying to do, their main job is to keep their job. So what do? If they see somebody in the transfer portal destroys, to me, especially high school basketball. It hurts high school seniors. Always has. You know why? Because what did Rick Pitino do? What did he say in his press conference this year? He said, I am not recruiting. I'm paraphrasing. He said, why recruit any high school players? All I got to do is go into the portal and bring those guys in here.
They did what Dion doing. I ain't
Every,
mad at that.
every coach is doing it.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that at all. You poach players, man.
It's not fair to the high school kids, man. When you can transfer as many times as you can transfer, which is crazy. But I think the NCAA, and I'm gonna say this, then your last words, then we're gonna get out of here. The NCAA is purposely not touching this shit because they want Congress and the Senate to convene to fix college sports and put who in charge? The NCAA. They have not touched anything. They just let it. They let it just fly. Because what they're doing
smart
is
move.
they are lobbying.
Right.
They're lobbying the Senate and Congress. They look at this. Will you look at this? Will you look at this?
That's the long game though, man. Because
Of course, because they want control. That's what they want. That's what they want. There's a conspiracy theory, but there's a lot of logic in what I'm saying. We don't hear from them anymore because they like, look, we wash our hands of it. Colleges, you do what you got to do because they know one day there's going to be a congressman or senator like, look, his kid's a 5-star quarterback. My son didn't get to do it because they transferred him, this guy from Michigan. Now they dropped his scholarship.
you don't see that as a DEI issue.
That's why you had a damn smirk on your face. I got you, dog. I want to be right about this, damn it.
No. I make the point and then let the naysayer reinforce it. That's what I do. Just let you keep talking. You get there eventually.
Any last words, man?
Hey man, I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, man, and I look forward to the next. Peace.
I concur, bro. Real talk. I enjoyed it.
If you we spent the last 40 minutes talking sports, but the first part of everything it was about trauma, how trauma affects us in a positive and negative way. Please, please check out once I download it on YouTube. Go like, share, and subscribe. Watch this episode because if you enjoyed the sports, it's a great thing because we had fun with it. But we also had some meaningful conversation on the first 3 quarters of this podcast about
Absolutely.
trauma, how it affects you, and how things is happening, and it's meaningful conversation, folks. So please tune in and do what we got to do. We wait for Damon to come back. KJ, Marcus, Damon, Jerome, cousin Eric, love y'all, man. Thank y'all for your comments.
Absolutely.
Thank you for riding with us because you gave us great comments and you spurred real conversation on things. And
You know what, man? I think it'd be beneficial, man. For the people we had in the chat to be on the show to have, on the sports show. That'd be crazy because I mean these guys had a lot of information, man. Stuff that I don't watch the sports ball, so I
you know
think they have
what?
a lot to
This is
say.
a good point. This is a good point. Damon, KJ, Marcus, Eric, get in touch with me. I know we Facebook friends or Damon, get in touch with me. I want to have you guys on. KJ, I know you're a busy man, but I want you to come on and give your insight on because I think you've been on a couple times, but you've never been on a sports joint. I want you to come on. I want your opinion about things. Come on through. Great idea, Jaquari. Come through. We're gonna make this happen soon. You know what I mean? We're gonna make this happen soon. Trying to wait for Damon to come back.
Not decided, man. I think in a perfect world, man, I would like for my grandkids to tell my great grandkids that I was a cowboy without a horse.
Okay. I like that analogy, man. I like that. I like that analogy, man. Eric, we're gonna get it set up. KJ, Damon, we're gonna get it set up, man.
Peace, brother.
Marcus, we're gonna get it set up. And we're gonna make this happen. Because we know you're a Bills fan. You know what I'm saying? And us being Lions fan, we know your trauma, but at
We
least y'all
good.
went to the Super Bowl 4 times. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, but last word. This is a Strong Perspective podcast. Please go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. Share our podcast with the folks that you know, because it's about meaningful conversations. Ladies, we need you to come on again. I got to get back in touch with the ladies been on prior, because I love your opinions, ladies. You know what I mean? And you always are a part of this conversation. You know what I'm saying? So this is a Strong Perspective podcast. Go like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Build our numbers up because that's what we're going to be doing. Damon Jaquari, great job as ever, man. Appreciate y'all what y'all did, y'all do for this thing, man. And we see y'all next Friday.
Peace.
Peace.